people that have really benefited from this. So thank you.
Thank you. Next proponent.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Erin MacLean. That's spelled M-A-C, capital L-E-A-N, and I represent the Montana Medical Association. The Medical Association has asked me today to come in support of Senate Bill 423 with a couple of friendly amendments that I have discussed with Senator Essman. Prior to starting the discussion on those, I do want to thank the interim committee and Representative Sands, along with Senator Essman and those on the subcommittee who've worked on this. We really do appreciate this legislature taking this issue and addressing it in an appropriate manner. The Medical Association in 2010 came up with a statement regarding medical marijuana, knowing that this legislature would want to know what the physicians think. Generally, I'm not going to read it to you, but generally the statement is that physicians all across this state are some in support and some opposed to the legalization of medical or therapeutic marijuana. However, the association generally does recognize that there may be therapeutic use to cannabinoids. The concern of the Medical Association is that it's difficult when a physician recommends a substance that has no diagnosis or controls on the quality, quantity, or treatment effects of this plant once it's recommended. There's a possibility of it being laced with other drugs. We've heard methamphetamine was laced in some of the medical marijuana drugs in the state in 2010. We want to make sure that those controls are made, and we haven't seen that in this law, and hopefully that can be addressed. There are a couple, like I said, friendly amendments that we addressed with the interim committee and also addressed with Senator Essman. One of those is that on page 4, lines 11 through 28, you can see that the standard of care has been placed in the statute. What happened there is that the interim committee asked the Board of Medical Examiners to provide them with what they believe might be a standard of care for medical marijuana. It was for informational purposes, not necessarily designed to be adopted into a statute. As standards of care evolve and change over time, this would be set as a minimum standard of care. The standard of care might be more strict for some patients and less strict for other patients. So what we believe can happen with a friendly amendment is for the Board of Medical Examiners to adopt a standard of care and then to address that standard of care relatively maybe on a regular basis every year to make sure the standard of care is appropriate so that we don't have a statutory standard of care that comes and goes out of date. We think that's an easy change and we can effectuate that pretty easily, and that there still will be a standard of care referenced by this statute if it's adopted. The other concern in this bill that we have is that on page 10, lines 25 through 28, it states that the Board of Medical Examiners shall do a review of physicians who provide written certification for 25 or more patients. It's our understanding that's going to cost quite a fair amount of money to the Board of Medical Examiners to do. We just want to make sure that there's an amendment that states that the fees that go to doing that review don't come from physicians, especially those physicians who don't deal or even recommend medical marijuana at all, that comes from the licensees related to the use and production of medical marijuana. Again, a friendly amendment. The next concern that the Medical Association had was on page 11, lines 17 and 18. There is a statement that a physician may not hold an economic interest in enterprise engaged in the therapeutic use of marijuana if the physician certifies the debilitating medical condition. And anybody who has gone to a naturopath knows that what happens normally in a naturopath's office is you would go in, see the naturopath there would have their herbs, tinctures, etc., that they believe would help their patients with whatever ailments the patients are presenting. We believe that this section doesn't do anything to prevent the misuse of medical or therapeutic marijuana by the industry. We believe what it does is prevent physicians who are going to recommend medical marijuana from controlling the amount of marijuana, the quantity and quality of that marijuana that might be used by the patients. So we believe that should be taken out. A suggestion was made by Senator Essman that instead a physician be placed on the board of the nonprofit organizations in order to help control, have these controls that they were concerned about in placing this, this section in. So we believe that can be taken out and addressed elsewhere. Otherwise, I would say thank you to all of you for considering this, working on this, and addressing this issue. And Mr. Chair, may I be excused to go to another committee?
Certainly. Thank you.
Thank you.